Hey there, my name is Josie, the founder of PsychonautWiki. This is the third video of our YouTube series, which aims to break down the hallucinogenic experience into formalized phenomenological descriptions with levels of intensity accompanied by image and video replications. This video will focus on an effect which I have named tracers. Tracers are an extremely common, near-universal effect which occur at low to moderate dosages of any classical psychedelic. They can be described as the experience of motion trails being left behind any moving objects such as people, birds, or cars in a manner which is similar to those found in long exposure photography. Motion-induced tracers are often one of the first noticeable effects while coming up on a psychedelic. While under the influence of a moderate to heavy dosage, this effect can be consistently reproduced by simply moving one's hand or throwing an object. Tracers can be broken down into 4 approximate levels of intensity. These are defined as 1. Subtle. The most basic form of tracer can be described as an almost completely transparent afterimage which disappears quickly and drags shortly behind moving objects. 2. Distinct. At this level, tracers increase in their length to become roughly half as long as the distance across the visual field which the object it is following has moved. The clarity of these tracers shifts from barely visible to distinct and partially transparent in opacity. 3. Intense. At this level, tracers become mostly solid in appearance and almost completely opaque in their transparency, with increasingly distinct and sharp edges to their shape. This creates a clear contrast between the tracer itself and the background behind it. The tracers become slower to fade from one's vision and can remain in the air for up to several seconds. This results in longer trails covering the entire distance across the visual field, which the object creating it has moved. 4. All-encompassing. The highest level occurs at the point when a person's visual field has become so sensitive to the creation of tracers that it entirely smudges and blurs into an all-encompassing tracer at the slightest movement of an object or the eye. This can make it extremely difficult to see unless the eyes are kept still in a motionless environment, as tracers linger almost indefinitely or until one looks elsewhere within their visual field. Although there have not been any formal studies which look directly at this visual effect component, MRI tests which examine the brains of patients under the influence of LSD and psilocybin demonstrate that their neural pathways are far more interconnected than that which they would be during a sober state. This demonstrates that signals between certain parts of the brain are reaching other areas of the brain which they would usually be partially or completely disconnected from. I believe this process may hold insights into why the effect of tracers occurs on a neurological level. For example, if an overexcited neuron or collection of neurons within the visual cortex that is holding data and is also in a state which is overexcited and more interconnected, it may be more likely to send out its signal to adjacent neurons, which in turn may also be likely to propagate the same signal to other adjacent neurons, including the ones it received the original signal from. This could result in a sort of visual recursive feedback loop, in which the data is reprocessed in a manner which allows it to continue circulating even after the object which is being looked at has changed or moved, thus giving moving objects the appearance of trails and tracers which lag closely behind them. However, I am far from qualified to have a legitimate opinion on this. The previous statement was entirely speculation and should not be regarded as fact. Thank you for watching this video. Our previous video was on the topic of symmetrical texture repetition, and our next episode will be on the topic of psychedelic geometry. If you have any ideas or suggestions for improving my content, you can post them in the comments below. Please consider subscribing, clicking like, sharing it with your friends, or even donating to the cause. For more information on this effect and a range of other topics, please visit psychonautwiki.org.